All right, we are back with episode 10 of Adapt and Achieve. And today we're trying things a little bit different. We're trying to change up our podcast setup and how we're able to stream it. So we're eventually going to get to the point where we can do YouTube live streams. Because there's, people like 3 to 7 Project, they do YouTube live streams and we'll like throw it on during the workday sometimes, like listen to it in the background. So it's so cool to listen live. So we're hoping to get to that point eventually. But today is all about a race recap from this past weekend. We talked about it on the last episode, talked about our training, what it looked like to train with, having families and with pretty much like 8 weeks worth of training notice for this race. But we were both going in just really excited because we haven't raced in a while. And so we went down to Georgia on Friday, February 9th, and the race was on Saturday the 10th. So we all got down there that evening on the Friday. Saturday woke up, race day was at 8 a.m. and I'll let Kevin talk about his experience
Okay.
first and kind of start from, like
Yeah, well, I'll go
beginning.
back. So we even before the race, so we got an Airbnb down in Georgia. Did we talk about that on the last
I
episode?
don't I
I
don't
thought
know if
that
we
so that we got this Airbnb, didn't really know what to expect. And when we got there, it was like they said it was like a wellness retreat, but it had 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, had a hot tub, had a pool, had a sauna. It was on 15 acres with a creek, and it was like 5 miles from the race start. So we just getting down there for us was an adventure. I'm sure it probably was for you also.
yeah.
We brought the whole family. Everybody brought their family. So me and Logan, but also Wade and Kyle from our team came. Um, so we had what? How many babies and how many kids in that house? 8, 7 or 8 kids.
You have 4,
You have
Wade
one,
2,
so
me
seven.
1, so 7, yeah.
7 kids in the house, and so for us, just getting down there was, I was pretty exhausted just already after even getting there, but yeah, so it was nice because everybody had a bedroom, and I got there probably about 4 o'clock. I know you were a little
I we
later,
got there late, yeah.
but we were starving after we got there. We didn't have any food, so I ended up eating some Mexican the night before, which I was a little worried about. I got shrimp fajitas, but I just ate the
Bold.
vegetables and the shrimp. Didn't really eat a lot of the other. I ate the rice, but not a lot of the other junk. But but yeah, and then you got there about 7 or 8,
Yeah,
something
it's
like that,
about 8 o'clock.
and had a pretty good, decent night of rest. I mean, I was a little amped up, I had a little trouble falling asleep, but
Mhm.
I got up at like 4 or something because I was just excited. And it's Eastern time. We're on Central here in Bowling Green, so it was really like 3 something our
Yeah.
time. So I got up pretty
I
early.
felt that time change too. I
Yeah,
could really feel it.
but yeah, so that was kind of the night before leading up. Little bit of nerves maybe, but not much. I think like you were saying, you were pretty chill.
Yeah, kind of the same for me. Like, yeah, we got there late that night, and I'd actually, because I'm doing 75 hard, I have a lot of meals that are typically prepped. And Emily and I got there late, and we stopped at like awkward time. It was like 4:30 or 5, because Emily had to feed Leah, so we stopped, and she got some food. And then I ended up eating like ground beef and rice the night before, which usually I do like pasta or something, just because it's kind of the go-to, and my stomach handles it really well. So I did ground beef and rice. But yeah, it's kind of the same with me, like kind of up and down all night. And I think probably a lot of the babies were a little bit out of
Yeah.
whack, sleeping in somewhere new as well. And then when we first got there, it was extremely hot in the house.
Yes.
It was probably like 78, 79 degrees.
Yeah.
And so then everybody turned their AC on, and then we woke up freezing in the middle of
Yeah.
the night. Like
Yeah. It
I was
was.
freezing.
It was really cold that
Yeah,
night.
but I woke up a little bit later than you did because I struggled to really fall asleep as well. So I didn't get up until like probably 6 or like 5:50. And same thing though, like not a lot of nerves, just like excited because I know for me, like I didn't put any pressure on myself because this was my first race back since Leah was born. And I know we kind of talked about that like
Yeah.
offline too. But yeah, I really didn't feel any nerves. Like I was
Yeah.
just totally excited to like go out on and one, like especially be on trails just because we don't get to do it a whole lot around
Yeah.
here. But yeah, like not a lot of nerves at all, just excited.
What was your fueling like? So how did 75 hard impact your fueling leading up to the race? That's what I try to do better this time. I try to like starting on Wednesday or Thursday, started trying to kind of prepare my body with fuel and stuff,
Yeah.
which normally I don't, and I
Yeah.
I think it helped me. But
Yeah.
what did you do? I was curious.
Well, I will say also, I that's one thing that I learned when I started doing like ultra running. After my first 50K, I like blew up. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Like I bonked. I finished the race, but I just like fueling sucked. I didn't fuel for days leading up. And I usually would start like kind of carb loading like three days out usually. But with 75 hard, I'm kind of just like tracking my macros and staying within a certain caloric intake. And for me, I was on the upper end of like my calories, but I increased carbs and lowered protein and my fats a little bit on the last 3 days leading up. But for the actual race, like during the race, and I talked about it with my friend Pierce. He's in the middle of 75 hard, actually, the guy who won the 4 hour. He told me
Oh,
he's
okay.
the well, he started it and failed because he forgot to take a daily photo.
Oh my gosh.
And so he had asked, like, how did you fuel with 75 hard? And I was like, I just fueled during the race as if I would during any normal race,
Yeah.
like all calories, macros, like all tracking aside. And he said he did the same thing. So leading up to the race, I really didn't do a whole lot different besides shift like my macros a little bit, like increase the carbs by probably 100 grams a day, and then like lowered the fats a little bit and lowered my protein a decent amount. Um, but then the actual race day, like I didn't track anything. Like the morning of, I tracked to make sure I get enough carbs and stuff and electrolytes. But during the race, like I just ate whatever my body could take because, I mean, like
Yeah.
when you're running, something that you love to eat every single day might just wreck your stomach or not sound good at all during the race.
Yeah. So race day, we what time we leave? About 6:45.
6:45.
What did I eat? I before the race,
You had some avocado, right?
so my go-to is a peanut butter and jelly. I had a peanut butter and jelly,
So did I. That's what I had.
avocado, a banana, and I drank some VPN electrolytes,
Yeah.
which seemed to be just about right. Like
Yeah.
I felt like the avocado, had some good fat and some calories in it, carbs with the peanut butter and jelly, got the electrolytes and potassium stuff and some carbs with the banana.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. That's solid.
Yeah, I usually just do a peanut butter and jelly and that's it. But I don't
Yeah.
feel like it's enough.
No, I feel like also though, like I ran I think with ultras, like you can almost pace your eating a little bit better than like road races, like
Yeah,
half marathons. Like I did a half marathon, I had almost 2,000 milligrams of sodium before the race started. I
really.
had like 2 scoops of electrolytes, which is 500 milligrams each, and then I had 2 scoops of GNM Sport, which is 350 each. So I had almost 2,000 grams of sodium, but it's because like during half marathon, like most of the time you're running fast
Yeah,
and you don't
yeah,
want to carry much. You're not gonna like you're just sipping water on the course. But
right.
with ultras, I feel like you can get in a good mix of everything and you don't have to go so heavy on carbs or fats or your sodium. Like you probably got about 600 grams of sodium
Mm,
before, and then you got plenty of fats
yeah,
and stuff. But the good thing about the ultras is like throughout the day you can eat a lot more and
yeah.
take stuff with you, and if you're wearing a vest and all that.
So 6:45, we headed out. We rode in Kyle Balliot's girlfriend, I
Yeah.
guess, vehicle. So we come rolling up there in a Land Rover, looking legit.
Oh yeah.
Um, got there about 7, I guess,
Mhm.
7:30 or 8 o'clock start,
It was
right?
8 start, got there
Eight
about
o'clock.
7.
Yeah, we got there about 7. So we came rolling in, and first form had these beast mode
Massive
trucks.
like Hummer, and yeah, it's crazy.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we had Cornbread from 307 team greeted us. We'd never met him in person, so it was kind of funny to uh see him in the dark, and
Mhm.
told us where to park. But we parked like, gosh, half a mile away.
Goodness, it was easily. I mean, it felt like a longer walk back after the race. It was probably, I mean, every bit of an 8 to 10 minute walk to the start
Yeah.
line.
So what? Because so Wade is with us, and Wade is like the over like he has to be doing something kind of guy.
He's a
Like,
caretaker.
so Wade came. He was our kind of our crew chief, I guess.
Hmm.
We didn't really have a formal crew chief. You didn't really need one, honestly, for this race. But Wade was all in as crew chief
Hmm.
and wouldn't let us carry anything to the start line. So he was lugging your big tote.
Yeah, carrying my tote. And I
So,
was like, somebody want to grab this? Wade's like, yep, I got it.
so we trekked that up to the start line, but saw the first form they had. Man, first form had a spread out
Oh my
there, like
gosh.
everything you could think of.
What all they had? They had protein. They had
Pretty
like,
much every one of their products, I guess,
yeah,
right?
they had like
Beef
protein meat
sticks.
sticks, protein bars, and they had like carb, like almost like endurance bars,
Yeah,
all types of
all
stuff.
free,
Yeah.
which was awesome. Hoist was there with a bunch of Hoist drinks,
Yeah.
which I drank one on the 307 Project podcast. That's the only
Hmm.
time I ever had it. It was good. I actually
Yeah.
drank a little bit of it before the race.
Same.
Um, and then I guess Salty Britches was there,
Salty
which is like
britches. Yeah. Anti-chafe, like a chafing
Yeah, yeah.
cream, anti-chafe.
But they had a good setup. It was cool to see Chad and Blake and all the other 3-7 guys that we know and chatted with them for a second. And then about 7:30, I guess, they did the pre-race speech. What'd you think of the pre-race speech?
I thought it was good. I think that Chad is just good at like galvanizing people anyway, and
Yeah.
bringing people together, making you feel like pumped up. But it was so funny. Chad was kind of like on an elevated porch, like where the crew area is, and we're all down in the grass. So me and Kevin were like kind of felt like his little minions because he's like, "You
Yeah.
will not
He had
quit."
a big bullhorn
Yeah,
thing or whatever you called the loudspeaker thing.
yeah,
Yeah, and it was like echoing. We were like on a lake, and there's like kind of like small mountains, I guess, around the lake.
yeah,
And his voice, and it's like the sun's coming up, and his voice is just echoing. And as soon as he started talking, like everybody like stood at attention
yeah,
and like didn't make a sound.
yeah.
And
Like
he's
his
like
little
up,
minions. Yeah,
yeah. It was like it was kind of it was kind of funny,
yeah.
but the speech was really good. Like it
Amazing.
was
Yeah,
amazing speech. It was just funny, like the setting or whatever. But no, it was cool. It definitely made you feel like, okay, this is more than just running today. It's more
yeah,
about like growing as a person, helping others, coming together as a community, which they're so good at. Just creating that community feel and stuff like that. So it was a neat speech, and felt lucky to be able to be there and hear it.
yeah.
Um, and then from there, just kind of we just lined it up.
Yeah, 8 o'clock gun start. And Kevin and we really weren't together at all during the race. Like so Kevin had kind of went in, he talked about last time, like he wanted, so the guy who won last time went 44 miles, which
I have
now,
no idea how he
now
did that.
being on that course, we had perfect weather and nobody even got 40 miles this year.
No,
There were three of you that got 36.
yeah,
I got 32. And I think there were like two other guys that got 32, maybe one or two
maybe,
other guys.
yeah.
And so, I mean, again, we had perfect, it was like 60 degrees, overcast, like
Trail was in good shape. It wasn't
amazing shape.
wet or anything.
So yeah, anyway, 8 o'clock gun start. We were together for probably the first mile. And so basically the course goes, you basically go up a mountain and you go down a mountain. So the first mile is pretty much flat, like maybe 80 feet, 100
Yeah.
feet of gain. And then you get to like 1.1 miles. And from there, it's like a gradual, steep climb. And then you get one little drop off. It goes down like a quick down, and then you go up and you climb again, and
Yep.
you gain almost, it's like 850
Yeah.
feet in less than a mile. And it's, I mean, you physically you can't run on it when you get to the single
Yeah.
track, because it's you basically you go up this like pretty steep incline that you could like hike, and then you get to single track switchbacks that are like, I don't know how many switchbacks, they're probably like 5 or 6
Yeah. Something like that.
switchbacks. And it's just brutal, man. Like it is tough.
Yeah. The first lap, it's like a lot of people were trying to run some of it.
Hmm.
You get to the top, near the top, you can't even run it. Even if you wanted to,
No,
it's not even
no.
possible. Like you could, like, even if you were fresh, like to run that,
Yeah.
I don't know that you
Nobody
could.
ran it the first lap. You
But like
couldn't.
the first lap, though, like the bottom of the mountain where it wasn't as bad, some people were trying to run some of
Right,
that.
right.
But my approach was like, I'm just gonna, because we'd done our research. I'm like, I'm just gonna power walk this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was passing some of the people that were trying to run. You just couldn't even run
Yeah.
hard on it. It wasn't possible. So, my first time up the mountain, I think I did in about 15 minutes, and I felt good. I was passing tons of people. Even the first lap, people were like, they could barely make it to the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, it was funny. So we were together for a little bit of the hike, and then towards the end, Kevin kind of pulled away, and it's funny, there were like people behind me, and I could hear some of the guys like literally breathing
they were doing that
so
before the
hard.
mountain. Like before
Yeah,
the first mile of the race, they were like, it was almost like they couldn't even run more than 2 more miles because they were running so hard. I was
yeah, it
like,
was
what are you doing?
insane, and they were like breathing so hard, and I think they thought that it wasn't gonna last as long as it did, like the climb, but
Yeah.
it was less than a mile, but it was about 8/10 of a mile. But the good thing about it was you get to the very top of this mountain, and then you get to the very top, and it's like a slight gradual downhill, and then very tiny, like maybe three or four like tiny rolling inclines, and then it's
Hmm.
straight downhill for
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much the last 2 miles.
I was flying on
Cooking.
especially the first couple laps. I was just flying down that mountain. And I was a
Yeah.
little worried. And I was like, and I did that first, well, most of the time I went pretty hard, but like, especially in the beginning, but I was like, I thought I was going to blow my quads up because all that
Mhm.
eccentric kind of pounding on your quads,
And it was fast downhill
it
too.
was fast. Like,
Very fast.
and once you kind of let loose, like you couldn't even slow down. Like it
Yeah.
was fast. But now my quads held up, but it was really fun because so like that course was cool. It was a 4 mile loop, and it was just like you're easy mile coming out of the aid station, one really hard mile, but it was kind of cool because it was so hard it almost made it unique.
Hmm.
But once you got through that, you were fine. And it was so
Yeah.
it kind of made it like mentally it was just like, okay, I just gotta climb this mountain, and then the rest of this is easy.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I thought it was
I
awesome.
loved it. Like during it, it definitely sucked. Like when you're climbing it, you're like, oh my gosh. But then when you get to the top, you're like, you kind of let your heart rate come down. That's the strategy that after like 2 loops, the strategy I did was I hiked the whole climb, get to the top, walk for probably 2 minutes, let my heart rate come down. And because it'll jack your heart rate up, even
Yeah.
hiking that
Yeah.
incline. And then after about 2 minutes, my heart rate, pretty much came down to zone two, like low zone two. And then that downhill is so steep, my heart rate stayed in the like high 130s. Like it was crazy.
I wasn't even watching mine,
But
but
it was
yeah, probably
funny.
was.
It was funny. A couple of the guys like explained it perfectly. They were like, that like the last 2 miles of this course coming to the aid station is a lot of like false confidence
Oh yeah.
because you just feel so good especially the last
Yeah.
mile because your body's cooled down. Coming
Yeah.
to the aid station and you see everybody, you're fired up, you see your crew if you have them there, get a quick refuel, and then you go back out and you're still feeling good in that first mile, and then you hit that climb again.
Yeah. The aid station was awesome too because you could see it like you kind of coming down like down a hill,
Mhm.
and you look across the lake, you can see it, and then it's like a big pavilion, and they have music going and stuff. They had music going, and then all the families, everybody had the blankets out. You're
Yeah.
right on the lake, and it was like a big party, kind of like the Hot Rod Ultra. Honestly,
Yeah.
it was like a big party when you rolled in there, and then the people that were done leaving the aid station would pass you, so you could like kind of motivate each other,
Yeah.
say stuff, encourage each other on the way in and out.
Yeah.
But I always felt so good. But you had to go up like what 5 or 6 steps uh
Yeah. To get to the
into the aid station to get you like so they didn't actually time it. They would just put on
tally
yeah, they had literally a Sharpie, and they would just mark your bib
how many laps you've
how
done.
many laps you did. So you had to run up these steps. There was a couple times I almost tripped because
Yeah.
I was trying to go fast and like look cool, and like my legs were getting tired at the end. I almost tripped on those steps.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. It was really really cool. But the best part is you go over this little bridge, and every time I looked up, Wade would come running at me. He was
Yeah.
just waiting. So Wade would come running at me like, "What do you need? What do you
What do you
need?"
need, buddy?
And I would throw my bottle. I just threw my water bottle at him every time I'd yell out something I need. He'd go fill it up and like literally sprinting around and then run back and give it to me because that was my key. I didn't want to spend more than 98 seconds in any aid station stop, which
Mhm.
I think I was much less than that every time. But it was all because of Wade because otherwise I'd have had to go and
Right. Yeah.
do all my own stuff basically.
Yeah.
So Wade was like key to get me in and out, but it was really refreshing to see him every single
Oh, it
lap
was cool, dude. Yeah.
running. Yeah, it was just I don't know, just it meant a lot to me for him to be so like
Yes.
bought in to trying to help us succeed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And Wade just a motivator anyway. And so
Yeah,
when we first got there, it was just me, Kevin, Kyle, and Wade, and then the wives and the kids came later on, just because it was an early start, and all the kids having to get them together. So when we got there, the plan was for Wade to go back after he got us going, but then he got so invested in like getting us and
did
everything
he
we
ever go
needed.
back?
I don't think he ever went back to the Airbnb. So another quick side note. So I will say my approach was different in the beginning because I was a little bit nervous in terms of like performance and how my body was going to hold up just because I haven't ran more than 8 miles
Yeah, that's
since
crazy.
September of last year. It was a 20-mile run at the Hot Rod Ultra. So September of 2023. And I haven't ran more than I think it was no more than, yeah, 8 miles since then. And I ran on a trail like twice and like once was with you. So I was a little bit nervous. And so I was really, 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 really conservative like the first little bit. And after about the fifth loop, I was like, okay, like when you start getting your pumped up, like I remember telling myself, like, I haven't lost it. Like I still got that
Yeah.
dog in me.
Oh yeah, I
But it
could
was,
see you picking it up.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And so the first loop, I finished it. I hung around for like probably 4 or 5 minutes, like way longer than I needed. But then after the second loop, I knew that Emily and Leah were
This is
gonna
my
be there.
favorite part.
This is the best part of the race. Emily and Leah were gonna be there, and she had I had my phone. She had texted me, and the Airbnb is like 15 minutes from the start. So she had texted me when I took off for my second loop or halfway through and said, we're on our way. So I was like, okay, perfect. Whenever I finish my second loop, Emily and Leah will be getting there. I can hang out with them for a minute. So I finished my second loop, but I was finishing all mine. Like I think average finish time of each loop was probably like 52 minutes for me. Some quicker, some, but none of them went over an hour. And so I finished my second loop, and Emily had texted me as I was finishing and said, we just got here. And like we said, it's about a 10-minute walk down to the start line. So I get in there and they mark my bib and I grab a couple things in the aid station, and Wade had mixed up some electrolytes in a shaker bottle for me, and I wasn't carrying anything. My plan was to drink my electrolytes, eat my food at the aid station, then take off. So again, 5 to 6 minute stops probably. So I'm sitting there and I was like, I think Emily and Leah just got here, so I'm gonna wait on them. And Wade said, well, Chadd's ripping people for taking too long, so just might want to hurry
Still on
up.
his bullhorn.
Still on his bullhorn at the start line, and I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, no, like he's really ripping people. So then I get my stuff out of the aid station. I grabbed like a handful of cuties. They had them like peeled and everything already. I grabbed like apple and peanut butter, and then I got just a glass of water, and I walked down, and Wade has my shaker bottle of electrolytes. He was like, get in, get, and Chadd comes on the bullhorn, get in and get out, Logan. And I kind of look at him and laugh, and he was like, you're taking too long, Logan, like singling me out in front of everybody. And so I made a joke. I said Chili's aid station is way. I'm still trying to digest the food because Chili, one of the 3 of 7 guys, had a aid station, and it was a giant box of oatmeal cream pies at like the 3 mile mark. And he wrote on the box, said Chili's aid station. There was nobody there manning it. And he said, I don't care. You can crap your pants while you're running. And so I just kind of like laughed and looked at him, and he said, Logan, you better get going. I mean, it was not letting up. And so finally
Did
I
he
was,
say it wasn't a buffet? It's
he's
not the
like, it's not,
Golden
he
Corral.
said, it's not a buffet, Logan. Get your stuff and go. You can go to Golden Corral after the race. So finally I was like, wait, dump my electrolytes in my Solomon bottle. I had like my Solomon vest, and I have like the collapsible flask. So he dumped it in one of my flasks for me, and I just took it and took off running with my food in my hand, like water spilling, food dropping. And I was just like, what just happened? I mean, he was right. Like he was not, I know he was not going to quit until I got out of there. So, and then literally, sure enough, I get 2 minutes into the loop. Emily texted me and was like, we're down here. I was like, well, I'll see him next loop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
So
Comical.
then he has that is it called a bullhorn? Is
I
that
don't
what it's
know.
called?
Yeah.
I keep
It's like
calling
a
it,
giant megaphone.
yeah, like a megaphone. That's what I don't know
Yeah.
why I call it a bullhorn.
I don't know.
Megaphone. He's carrying that megaphone around the whole 8 hours, just yell. I mean, encouraging stuff, but also not trying to be mean. He's just like trying to
The
like it's
accountability.
accountability, like pushing people. So I appreciate it. It was cool. Now I'm not gonna lie, like when you're really tired, it's not you're not super excited to hear
Yeah.
but it's what you need to hear. Like he's not saying anything to belittle you or anything. He's just
Mhm.
telling you what you need to hear. But he had that megaphone on the course. So like lap 5, maybe I'm running going up or hiking up the mountain, and I can hear him from the top of the mountain screaming down at people. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I hope he doesn't
Here
scream
we
at me.
go.
Here we go. But he's up on this boulder, up on the where the like almost the steepest part, near the top. It's probably like a tenth of a mile maybe from the top, and he just screaming down at people like, "Don't stop! I see you stop!" And what he was saying, attack the hill, all this stuff. It was hilarious. Like it was hilarious, but I think it was really helpful for some people.
Yeah.
There were some people, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of annoyed me because there were some people, and again, I'm not like I'm not belittling them or anything, because they were pushing super hard, probably
Yeah.
harder than I was. But they would stop right in the middle of like they had hiking poles, and they would just stop and like kind of
And
lean on
it's
their
single
pole
track
on a
trail. So
single track trail,
yeah,
and
there's
just
no room.
like just lean on their poles for like a minute, and you're like trying to get around these people, and they're just stuck, just breathing like
And you can't go around because
you can't
you
go
can fall
around.
off the mountain if you do.
Yeah, so like in the middle of like trying to compete, you're like, get oh, you're trying to like get people to the side, but again, they're pushing really hard. So I'm
Yeah.
not like demeaning anybody at all.
Yeah.
And there was moments where I was struggling too, but it wasn't the best spot to stop because you would end up having a lot of log jams on the trail
Yeah.
because people would just stop in the middle. And I just got to the point I'm like, if I stop, it's going to be harder. Like I might as well just keep my feet
Yeah,
moving.
it's way
Just
harder.
keep your feet moving. It was all that mountain was all mental. Like that whole thing was just mental. Like
Yeah.
if you literally just kept your feet moving, kept your head down, because you'd be climbing and you would look up like several hundred feet and you could see it felt like you were kind of close to the top, but you look up and you see people several
And
hundred
you're
feet
not even
above you on the
close.
switchbacks, and it would really mess with your head.
Yeah.
I thought like if you look up there, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep my head down. I think we maybe talked about that in the last podcast. Like or I was talking about this at some point. Like embrace the hills.
hmm
Like and you can apply that to life too. Like when you're in the middle of a struggle, don't look past it. Just get in it. Just get in the middle of that struggle and just embrace it and keep your head down and just keep moving. Just keep forward progress.
Yeah.
Uh, there's so much bigger, and that's why I love ultra running. We talk about it all the time, but like you can apply that to so much bigger stuff. But that was definitely that mountain was keep your feet moving, don't look up, and just stay in the grind. That
Yeah.
was the key. But it was pretty funny when Chadd was yelling down at you too while you're in the middle
Yeah.
of that grind. But I mean, that's why we came to this event. And that's what these people signed up for is to be pushed like that. I
Yeah.
mean, he was treating us like he would any other teammate. In the SEALs, I'm sure, like, hey, I'm saying this to you to make you and make all of us collectively better and
Hmm.
make you, like we talk about, best version of yourself. He's trying to squeeze every ounce of energy and success out of you. And so while it was like, I mean, I don't think anybody got offended because we all understood what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But it was kind of comical. Some of the stuff he was saying was pretty funny too. But
Yeah. At the Golden Corral buffet
yeah,
thing.
man, I love that climb. That was and I like hills anyways. But
Yeah.
like that, I felt like that course was like perfect for me because it was
Yeah.
hard climbing and hard downhill running.
And neither one of us used poles. There were a lot of people with poles,
Yeah,
and I mean, I think the poles would have helped tremendously, but it was nice to just kind of like suffer and be like, this really sucks, but you're just kind of in it.
yeah,
Um, I think that was like really, really beneficial for me because there was at one point towards the end of the race that I grabbed a stick that was like perfect size for a walking pole. And I was using it for like a half a mile on that climb. And I get to towards the very top, I had like one more switchback and I kind of leaned on it and it snapped. And I was like, whatever. I just tossed the stick to the side. But I think going back to the Chadd thing, like the accountability, like I fully believe if he wouldn't have like dug into me a little bit on that second loop, like I would have
mm,
set 5 to 7 to up to 10 minutes at some stops just because.
yeah,
And I think it kind of goes back to I was really wanting to be conservative because I was worried like
right,
I never really said it out loud, but I was a little bit worried, like, well, how's my body going to do? It hasn't been in this setting in so long. And
yeah,
I mean, a lot of the ultra running is mental, but if you get to a point where your body isn't strong enough, like you're going to hurt yourself.
right,
And so that was my biggest worry. And I think that's why I was taking so long. And then I realized I feel better the shorter I take stops. So then the last 3 loops, I was out in probably less than
yeah.
120 seconds.
You were
Just,
cooking those last
yeah,
few loops. It
that's,
seemed
I
like,
finished way stronger than I started
yeah,
by
you came
far.
in looking
Yeah.
really strong at the end.
And that's one thing I want to try. I feel like every race I try to take something significant away. Like after my 100 miler, it was definitely like just don't overthink the nutrition part. I was so worried about like I need to get this down and this down and this down and this down. It's like just eat what sounds good to you and don't try to like force all this extra stuff down. Like you need to make yourself eat, but like just get down whatever is working for your body. And I
Yeah,
think I was overthinking it so much. I was putting so many different things in my body and then I threw up and got really sick. Well, this race, my takeaway was definitely that I can move a lot quicker at aid stations. Like
yeah,
I think even in my 100 miler, I took way too long at aid stations and I still went 23 hours.
yeah,
And I just think like I could have easily shaved probably close to an hour off of my 100 mile
yeah.
time.
That's like those little things, like
Yeah.
we talk about, and if you pay attention to the little stuff, you're gonna end up finishing so much better or succeeding so much more. And I mean, again, goes back to everything too in life. Like it's those little things that incrementally add up and that can either make you or break you.
Yeah.
And I think, spending less time, that was my goal. Cause I knew I was going to slow down, obviously,
Mm,
but it's like, if I don't waste time, that's the best thing I can do,
yeah.
So that helped me. And then one of my takeaways was, on the nutrition part. I usually try really hard to eat a lot, but I don't drink enough.
Mm.
This time I did really good, partly because of Wade was helping me so much, but keeping electrolytes in. It was BPN. What is that called? Is it just electrolytes? Is that what they
Electrolytes,
call?
yeah. The lemon lime was
It
the
was
flavor we
great, by the
did.
way. It was great.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt my stomach.
Mm.
It tasted good the whole time. Like I didn't get sick of it. But there was a few times I was like, okay, I feel like I've had enough. I just
Yeah.
want water.
Flush water.
But I stayed. I just drank a bottle to maybe 3/4 of a bottle every single lap, so 4 miles. I was 42 minutes ish, 42, 43 minutes early in the race, probably first 3, 4 laps. Then I was up to, I think the longest was 55 minutes, but 43 to 55 minutes. Um, I was about the time frame, and I was so basically like every hour I was getting almost,
Mm.
I don't know how many ounces my water bottle is, probably like 16 or something. I don't know. But I stayed pretty hydrated, but I didn't eat very much. I had one BPN Go gel. I had two cuties, a bite of a protein bar. Um, I think that was it.
You have a banana or anything?
No, no, I
Oh,
didn't.
wow.
But I took some salt tablets too
Oh, yeah.
at aid stations. 'Cause I
Yeah.
sweat a lot, and
Mm.
I struggle with cramping, so I wanted to make sure I had enough electrolytes, but I didn't really. I ate half of a peanut butter jelly too.
Yeah.
That's right. That's all I had though, and it felt great. Like I was fine. Like I was
Yeah.
not struggling or anything. I felt like I had enough calories and everything
I feel
going
like
in.
that 8 hour time frame though, I feel like you can
Yeah.
really get away with like not like having to eat so much and really think too far ahead because
Right.
really once we got 5, 6 hours in, like you really just need something like something, even if
Yeah.
it's 200 calories at each stop, and then you're good. Maybe not even that much, like just
Yeah.
some type of substance.
Yeah.
But my fueling strategy, so before the race, I did we had talked about our breakfast and everything, but after each loop, I did a scoop of electrolytes for the first 3 loops for the no for the first 4 loops because I did 8 total loops, right? You did 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did
Yeah.
8.
32. Yeah.
So the first 4 loops, I did a scoop of electrolytes, and I finished it every single loop. And then after that, at each stop, I had Wade, and then Emily eventually took over for my crew chief once Wade went out in the woods with Kevin. I did a scoop of G1M Sport, which is 350 milligrams of sodium, but it also has carbohydrates. There's like 20 grams of carbs or 20 grams of carbs per scoop. And I could just tell that I was starting to let up on my eating a little bit. So that's why I was doing G1M Sport. So I could still, it was a little bit less electrolytes and more carbs, which is what I felt my body needed. And I did it in a Solomon water bottle. It was like 20 ounces of water. It just collapses as you drink it. So I did one every single loop. Like this is one of the first races that I've like drank all my liquid
Mm.
nutrition the entire race. So every loop I would crush it and make sure I had it my bottle completely collapsed by the time I got back. And then I think I probably had a total of like 5 cuties. I was crushing them. I had half of a grilled cheese. I had apple and peanut butter. I had half a banana. I had 2 Go Gels from BPN. I think I had 4 or 5 Go bars from BPN. Like I
Wow.
crushed those. And then I guess that was it. And then what's funny too is I mean, I crush caffeine throughout the day usually. And I had no caffeine before the race. I had no caffeine during the race. Besides, Emily showed up and had an Alani, and I took like one swig of it, like just a 1 second swig, and I swear it like changed my race. I was like, now I'm good. But yeah, I definitely ate enough. And drank all my liquid nutrition like that again. That was the first time that I think as you practice that stuff though, it gets so much easier because
Yeah.
like there were multiple times throughout this race where like BPN Go bars, I could eat like 10 of those in a normal day like this, but during a race, like your body just when you're moving so much, and maybe
Yeah.
if you have a lot of sodium, like your body just rejects the thought of food. And I still was like forcing the Go bars down and going down good. And races before when something didn't sound good, I really struggled to make myself eat.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, like this race, I was really able to apply that of like, I know I need to eat, so let's just get it down. And this is what's going down good right now.
I think too, like if you're listening to this and trying, you're thinking about doing this race next year. I hope they have it next year because I'm definitely coming back.
We
And
gotta
Wade said
go.
he's going to do it. Kyle says he's going to do it. Sergio that
We're
works with
making
us,
Sergio
yeah,
do it.
everybody's going to do it. We're all coming because it is a great. And I've done a lot of races, and it was one of my favorite. Really
Mhm.
was one of my favorite races.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're, I think one of the things I'm notorious for not wearing trail shoes on trails, but I think this race you need to wear trail shoes for sure.
Yeah.
Like because some of those downhills and there's a lot of leaves and stuff and it's slick. So having a little bit of tread on my shoes really, really helped. I think if you want, if you liked using poles, it would definitely be a pole kind of race for
Yeah.
that climb.
I mean, I would consider taking some next year for
I'm just not
myself.
good with them, and I actually have some, but I just don't. I'm not good at them, and
Yeah.
I don't. I didn't want to hold them like on the 2 mile downhills and stuff.
Yeah.
But it would definitely have helped for
Yeah.
sure. I think it would have. So poles I think would be good. Um, Other than that, I mean, you don't really have to bring. I had a handheld water bottle that I brought with me, but that's it. Like you don't. I mean, it's every 40 minutes to 60 minutes typically you're coming into the aid station, so you don't really need to carry a lot or wear a vest. I don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah. And I will
Um,
say, I think some of the people that did the 4 hour, I saw more vests on the 4 hour runners because they were going so fast. I
oh
think they
yeah,
were trying to get in and out of the aid
that's true.
stations.
Carry their
But
stuff.
also, I don't like, I feel like we could have come without any of our own food and nutrition. Like they
Yeah,
had,
yeah, they had everything.
unless you have an allergy, I mean, they had like all the good, like ultra foods. Like they had grilled cheese,
Yeah,
the quesadillas were solid. I had
I had one
quesadilla
after the
also.
race. That was
Quesadillas
good.
were good. And then, of course, First Form had a ton of stuff. And then they had a bunch of fruit. They had like granola bars. I mean, all kinds. I didn't even
Yeah.
eat all of it. There was so much
There's a
stuff.
lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, great event. And Wade actually ran the last mile. Wade and Kyle ran the last mile with me. And Wade
They
sprained
ran
his
the whole loop, right?
or the whole oh yeah,
The
not
four
mile. Yeah,
mile loop.
the whole loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole loop. And Wade sprained his ankle on the way down the mountain. Pretty bad. He's been black and blue for all week,
Yeah.
but so I felt bad that he had one shot to run and he kind of got hurt, but he legged it out. He kept running. So he was good. He was a trooper, but I think he's recovering now. But a really fun race. If you're able to get the cabins at Sloppy Joe State Park where it's at,
Sloppy Joe,
is that
Sloppy Floyd.
Sloppy Floyd, Sloppy Joe,
Kevin's having
Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joes for dinner tonight,
Oh
folks.
man, yeah, I love Sloppy Joes actually.
They are good. I haven't had one in
Sloppy
forever.
Joe,
Maybe that'll be my first post 75 hard meal. Make me some Sloppy
Sloppy
Joes.
Joe,
I'm coming up to Kevin's house.
Sloppy Floyd State Park is where it's at. Um, I would get the There's only like 5 cabins, so
They
reserve them
sold quick,
early.
yeah.
But they're like 2-bedroom cabins. But there's really not a whole lot of places to stay unless you stay in Rome, which is like 25 minutes away.
Hmm.
So
And we're booking the Airbnb we got this year,
we're
so
getting that one
you're
again.
not
So
getting that one,
yeah, we're
guys.
not going to tell you the actual name of it.
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome. But no, it was fun. It was fun to get out there and push a
Hmm.
little bit, suffer a little bit. So I definitely had some suffering, but I had so
Yeah.
much fun too.
Oh my gosh, dude. And honestly, like I think it was like I think for the most part, like the wives had fun too. Like I know Emily, like this was one of the first trips that we've gone on with Leah. Leah's almost 7 months old that we've went and like it wasn't going with just family or like going to see family. And she loved like being around all the other families that had
Oh, that's
kids
good.
and stuff. And so I think like that just added to it because like the after the race, we had a ball, dude.
We had a cookout.
Kyle freaking threw down on the grill. He
Yeah.
had what, chicken, steak,
Potatoes, beans,
potatoes.
salad.
Oh my goodness.
It was amazing. Best steak I've ever had,
Oh,
probably,
dude,
or one of the top.
and that we were talking about. So usually after ultras, like, we've kind of said too, like, I think that like the 50, like 30 mile mark, like the 50K ish distance is kind of like the half marathon of ultras. Like you
Hmm.
can run the race and still like
Feel
operate
like a person.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
like feel like a person. And but usually one of the things after ultras, I struggle to eat. And you said you
I
do
do
too.
too.
But I mean, we had no issue. We threw back some
Yeah,
food. Like we
yeah,
finished our plate and then we're like still picking at
yeah.
the steak and chicken.
But that was fun. It was really fun hanging out after the race and
Yeah.
yeah, sitting in the hot
Hot
tub and
tub.
all that stuff. So it was fun. It's a really family friendly event too. Like we made it
Yeah.
family friendly from the house we got and we all came, which made it really, really fun. But even if you didn't have all that, like just the event, it's great for kids. Like there's a creek to play in at the start finish
Mhm.
line and stuff like that. It was really just awesome. It
Yeah.
was a
There were a
great
bunch of
weekend.
kids, a bunch of dogs, like
Yeah.
families. I mean,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
And a 3 of 7 talk on their podcast about this, and they're right. Like what they do so well is building community, and they genuinely like knew everybody out there.
Yeah.
They took time to talk to everybody if they didn't know them. And it was just you left there feeling like you had like a little bit more of a bigger family,
Yeah.
which was really, really cool. And that's definitely what makes them unique and special is they really invite you in, they support you, they push you when you need to be pushed.
Mhm.
But they're also gonna tell you great job too.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And they were out on the course helping people and motivating them and running beside them, trying to help. And Chadd too. I saw him run in with a lot of people and trying to, help them too. So it was just cool. It was just a really, really special event, I thought.
Yeah.
And honestly, it reminded me a lot of the Hot Rod Ultra, like as far as that
100%.
whole
Yeah.
community feel and everything. And they're going to be coming back to the Hot Rod Ultra this year. Chadd will be coming and speaking the night before, and hopefully we'll do the race potentially. But yeah, I mean, I think we have two really cool events, and I think same thing with ours. You leave there feeling like, hey, I got a little bit bigger of a family here.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And I think they just shout out to Chad's wife Brooke too. She took some
yeah,
awesome pictures. And I think she's technically the race director too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
she did a lot of the logistics behind it too. And like the volunteers, like everybody was so nice. Like anytime you walk up in the aid station, they were like, "What can I get for you? Like, is there
yeah,
something out here
yeah.
that's not out here you want?"
It's that Georgia hospitality,
That's right. Yeah.
like
The
Southern
dirty
hospitality.
South does it right,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah, it was so much fun, man. And we'll like Kevin said, we'll definitely go back. I'm hoping they keep it like the same time every year because that was like perfect.
Mhm.
Like the weather was good. It's good timing for like us and I think for everybody. Like it's a good time of year to go and run a race. Like the cold is starting to fall off a little bit, especially in that region of the country. But yeah, man. Any other thoughts you got about it?
I don't think so, man. I'm just excited about doing another race
I
now.
know. I
I
know.
can't wait.
One last thing I'll add too is I told Kevin this after having Leah, like I let a lot of my fitness go and I just, really struggled in a lot of that like mentally along with the physical part of it. And I told Kevin, I was like, I don't really know how I'm gonna feel about like going into this race. I told myself I don't know how I'm gonna feel about like doing ultra events again. I don't know if I'm really gonna like it. And even during the race, I got about 3.5 hours in. I like stopped at a crew stop and I told Emily, I was like, I'm so stupid. Like, what am I doing? I was like, I should have did the 4 hour. And she's like, no, like, this is why you signed up for it. I was like, okay, you're right. You're right. Well, then after like 5 hours in, 6 hours in, I just like, my body woke up. I felt like a machine. Like, I was like, I feel stronger now than I did. And like, this race was like that spark that I needed. And it kind of reignited that like thought for me of like, okay, like one, like I love this. I love like
Yeah.
in it, it always kind of sucks, but like the reflection afterwards, like that's how you know you love it because you
Mhm.
feel that pull towards it again afterwards. Like ever since that race has been over, I'm like, I want to hurt again. Like I want to
Yeah.
suffer. I want to like push through something
Well, we've
again.
run like every day since,
Yeah, we have like
and I feel
literally.
great now.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I
I
did seven
feel
miles yesterday. I felt totally fine.
yeah, I feel amazing. And two, it's like the kind of reminder of like it is a nice reminder of like I'm tough, Like
Yeah.
it feels good to be able to like do something that's physically and mentally challenging that you chose to do yourself
Hmm.
and be able to push through it and work through it and then like look back and be like you realize how powerful your mind is like against
Yeah.
you and in your favor. So yeah, just a lot of really cool reflection after the race and I'm excited to go back next year.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, definitely
Can't
excited.
wait.
But we'll wrap it up here, and we gave a lot of shameless plugs at the race, so we'll do one more. But we have an ultra. It's called the Move Wall Hot Rod Ultra. I'm hoping that we get some of the people who ran 3.7s trail race to come sign up. I probably told like 10 people out on the
I did
course.
too. I told a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's every September, and it's you can do a 12-hour, 24-hour solo runner or a group or a team relay of 4 people for 24 hours, and it's inside of a baseball stadium. It's a 0.31 mile loop, so you see your aid station every 0.3 miles. You see your crew, your friends every 0.3 miles, and it's a giant party for
Yeah.
24 hours. I mean, you
It's
can
awesome.
and as a spectator or if you have a runner there, like you can see the runners literally like at all points of the race and it goes for 24 hours and
Music playing,
music.
best aid station, better than I'm gonna just say, better even than the 3 of 7 one. Like
Yeah.
this aid station is unbelievable.
Well, we have the
Volunteers,
concession
we have a
stand
concession, like we're
in the
literally
baseball
making like
stadium.
concession
Fresh.
stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's such a short loop, you can put in requests and we'll get it ready for you the next time you come around. I mean, it's awesome. And the best part is all the money goes to
Hmm.
support a really great charity in Bowling Green. It's a street ministry for underserved kids in our community. So we literally don't make any money. Actually, we lose money on this because we spend a lot of our own money.
Yeah.
This is our biggest charitable kind of giving event for the year. So we give money to this event and we don't make anything off of it. So your raise entry goes directly to supporting these kids.
Hmm.
I think that's really unique and special, and it's rewarding to us too.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why that makes the race so
Yeah.
cool. It's because like we're doing a really good thing by running here, and we're inspiring people. I mean, like people just walking off the street because it's literally in downtown Bowling Green, and people will just come walking in like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And it's neat the impact it can have on people and stuff too.
Yeah.
We've got a guy from Norway signed up.
Yeah. Which is
It's
crazy.
crazy.
So cool.
So we want it to sell out this year. Course is going to be certified with US Track and Field this year, so it'll be a qualifying event if you're trying to use it to qualify for something bigger. We're going to be doing it bigger too with DJ night before. They're even talking about doing a brunch after the race.
Yeah.
Every year this thing just gets bigger and bigger and bigger,
It's
and
what we want, man.
definitely going to be bigger this year,
Yeah.
and next year will be even bigger. So
Yeah.
yeah, so come support that. It's a great event, and especially if you're a 3 of 7 fan, Chadd Wright fan, you'll get to hang out with them and spend some time with them too.
Yeah,
So
for sure. So if you want to learn more or sign up, go to hotrodultra.com. All the info's on there. You can register today. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.